My choice of class currently is the Berserker, because the best defense with that guy is offense, and you get in there and you just start doing chain attacks with all his quick weapons. You're just ripping things apart like there's no tomorrow. I just love it. It's insane. You start, because you can get skills that make you attack faster, do more damage, and slide faster. After a while, it's a blur. You're like, it's just, and we tend not to show that in video because we've released some video where the sliding gets a lot quicker. People don't understand what's going on. They think you're teleporting, but it's really cool. So that's my favorite class. Actually, that's the stage we're in right now, balancing those. And we want to make sure that each class has its own sort of pedigree on what it can do. So you take the Defender. The Defender needs to be able to get a lot of aggro, be your tank. He needs to be able to absorb a lot of damage, but not necessarily give as much out, be able to withstand really brutal attacks. One of the cool, interesting things, and as we put it in, people started suddenly loving the Defender, is that when missiles come, there's all kinds of stats effects we can put on these things, and they can knock you down, except for the Defender. He's got stability, and he won't get knocked down. And so people are like, hey, I can't get knocked down. I love this class. And he can take a lot more damage, but it takes him longer to kill enemies, and he specializes in the sword and shield. So we look at that, and he can give armor buffs for groups. So within the skill trees, each class has sort of group buffs that they can give, and you choose between those as you level up. And they're all meant to be, so we've got like damage dealers, like the Berserker's the melee damage dealer. You've got the Defender, who's like your tank. You've got the Champion, who does critical strikes and really good at air combat, which is a real unique mix for these kind of games, because we do have twitch action and can get into air combat a lot. That's where the Champion specializes. The Commando, area effect damage, sort of your nuker is the way I describe it. You know, these are very classical MMO terms or Diablo terms. And then your biomechanic, he's basically your healer in some sense. Now, one of the things that I think turns this whole genre on its head that I'm really excited about, say you take the healer, and one of our biggest worries is a healer's a class that not really too many people want to play because it kind of sucks and you sit in the background and you heal. But we don't have mana in this game. What we have is combo system. So you have to attack and kill enemies to heal. So the healer, so basically when you're sitting there and you're going to use some nanotechnology and heal your group, you have to make sure you get some combos in there and you're fighting. So you can't just sit at the back of the room and do, wait for your guys to get aggro and start killing your enemy. You go in there and you have to be in combat to be fighting and healing at the same time. So we're really trying to mix it up in a way that all the classes are fun to play, and balancing those classes, it's hard. I don't know, those are the steps we're taking, and we're really trying to make it so each class has their own sort of specializations. Within each class and each skill tree too, there's sort of like 3 trees that you can go down. You can't exhaust every component of the tree. There's not enough skill points. So you really have to choose whether you want to be sort of, as an example, the healer, whether you want to be like really focused on healing, whether you want to focus on buffs, or maybe you want to focus on status effects and helping buff your party in some way. And then with the Berserker, there's going to be like your classic damage dealer. You're going to be a faster mover and do other things, different kinds of strikes and stuff. So that's how we're trying to do it. And it's a lot of work, and combining with the Twitch stuff is really, really different. But I think it's working out pretty well so far. In Norse mythology, when you die, if you die valiantly in battle, you go to Valhalla. If you don't die in battle, you go to hell. And in Norse mythology, or in the world of the Norse Vikings, dying in battle was the best thing that could ever happen to you. So you get segmented into these different groups and these different locations. So you've got valiants and Valkyries for the valiantly dead, and then you've got hell for the people who die just normal deaths, sort of like the non-heroic people. So that's what really distinguishes them. Yeah, Helheim. Oh yeah, I really, how do we incorporate the undead into this? Well, that's really a good question, because imagine reanimating people through technology. And imagine technology, like we look at medical technology now from a perspective of, people are worried about, taking drugs for the Olympics. In the future, through nanotechnology, and this is only a few years away, they have nanotechnology which they can inject into your blood, where you can create a white blood cell. I think, or is it the red blood cell? I think is it the red that carries oxygen or the white? It's the red. So a red blood cell that functions 20 times better than a human blood cell. So you can inject this into your body. With no training at all, you can stay underwater for 45 minutes. That's technology that's available today. So imagine in the future, or with advances in nanotechnology, where someone loses a limb or they need something regenerated, the nanotechnology does it. So imagine a whole area where mankind has been decimated by war, and people are like, well, these people kind of died, but we can kind of bring them back still. What kind of world would that be like? And that's Helheim. And that plays very deep into the mythology. And we really haven't shown any of that until today. And a lot of people thought it was just man versus machine, but it's a whole other level when you start getting into that stuff. Too Human has been one of the most misunderstood games in the industry to date. A lot of people think of Too Human as an action game with some RPG elements. Too Human is actually a complete fusion of deep RPG with action. And to call it one or the other would be incorrect. To compare it to God of War or Devil May Cry would be incorrect. To compare it to Diablo would be incorrect. It has all of those elements, and it's a fusion of both those games. And I think when people sit down to play that, they're really going to see it for what it is. And then you start throwing all the typical Silicon Knights stuff with the story. Biggest script we've ever created. More dialogue and more story, more environments to explore, cyberspace, all these different universes. I think people will really appreciate its epic scope and nature from both game design and storyline and all the things we're trying to accomplish. So that's how I'd put it in a nutshell today. This is what we're hoping people can finally see.